Hey everyone, good morning. It's Thursday, March 23rd. Welcome to the Plant-Based Morning Show. It's the best day of the week, in my opinion. And we started off with new music today, a little minute lag, but I don't see any comments or anything about that. So, or people in the show. So I don't know. It's as if YouTube knew that wasn't the real thing, so they didn't invite anybody in. I don't know. Now I see people coming in, but the purpose has been defeated entirely because now I'm talking as people are just coming in. So we'll have to figure that out. I think we need to be able to choose the music and have a longer countdown. Although people thought it was a commercial. That's interesting. Anyway, let's see. I'm gonna add Doug into the Instagram feed here, and then we'll begin the real show. Haven't worked out that kink, but we did something. We tried something. Iteration. That's how we get better. Yeah, Danielle says she didn't get the notification yet. I didn't either. So I'm not sure how long that's delayed or what. All right, there's Doug on Instagram.
Hey, Matt.
How are you doing?
It's going great. I enjoyed some very peaceful music there. I think we were the only ones listening to it, so I don't know.
Yeah,
how it's gonna work.
No, I don't either. We're gonna figure that out. Yeah. Anyway, here we are. It's Thursday. One more day of this week after this one. Good morning to all the regulars: Mr. Jeffrey, Danielle P, Aisha, Jody Shuck, Sarah Slemp. These are names I know. Lucy B, Anne Marie, Leslie Knight. We don't say Leslie Knight's name that much, but she's always here. So just a little shout out there. And then over Instagram, there are people. I see my friend Morgan LS4. Doug has pinned the comment, so I'm putting that up. You can jump over to YouTube if you're on Instagram. It's youtube.com/nomeadathlete. That's where the action is these days. Better audio, better video, better community. Don't forget, we've got our Discord too. nomeadathlete.com/Discord. We do the show every day at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Next week, we'll probably do a little bit of an earlier Wednesday show. We're planning on that little change to see how that goes. Sponsored by Compliment, lovecompliment.com. I think that's it. That's all the housekeeping there is. Doug, how's your Wednesday? I know today's your Thirsty Thursday. This is your big night out. But how was yesterday?
Yesterday was good. I went to a school event for my daughter Eliza, who's in kindergarten.
Nice.
I
saw the ukulele thing. Was it a ukulele concert? Or was that just a music
class? It was like a literacy night or something like that, and they had different games and events in all the different classrooms. So I went to a couple classrooms I hadn't been to before, one of which was the music room, which had a wall of ukuleles. So I was very excited to hear that. Yeah, they haven't been teaching the kindergartners the ukulele yet, but
really?
Yeah, I am certain that by the time she gets to the ukulele lessons, she will be a master.
I have no doubt. My daughter has just started ukulele. She's in fourth grade. She didn't go to public school for second or third grade. So maybe they started at that age, but this is her first exposure outside the house to the ukulele. She also has a recorder that she's been playing, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So that's it. Music is good. Music education important.
Absolutely, sure is. Now I'm good, man. I'm in a great mood. I got up this morning and went on a road bike ride with a buddy in the dark, which was kind of fun before all the cars and traffic were out. So it was nice and safe. It would have been Fraser approved for a road bike ride.
Yeah, good.
And just it felt good. And it didn't end in a creek dip, so that's too bad. But other than that, it felt great.
Good. Well, I went to the dentist this morning. That was my adventure. I'm not a fan of the dentist. I have a dental anxiety for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Teeth are one of my weaknesses. So usually I get bad news at the dentist that I have to do more work, more trips to the dentist. But I went to one this time. I Googled dental anxiety dentist, and this one offers nitrous oxide gas in abundance. So I did that. And,
really? Just for
yeah.
I bet it was awesome.
Yeah.
Just for your regular checkup?
Just for regular cleaning. I can't stand when they take that scraping hook thing and scrape on my teeth and poke around the gums. I think I've had a bad experience once, and it just has never left my body. So this made it way better. It was like I was at a brewery or something. It was just kind of.
I bet, man. You're buzzing your way through the dentist.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, and then they flush it out. And then they turn on the oxygen after that, and it's just gone. And then you just drive home. So it's pretty amazing.
Well, that's cool. And so you get a hit of oxygen too? I mean.
It starts with oxygen. They clear out the impurities, whatever that would mean, and then they turn on the nitrous for like 30 minutes or whatever while they do all the stuff, and
Uh-huh.
then a little more oxygen at the end too to clear it out, and then you're on your way.
Wow. Man, that just sounds like a little retreat you got there. You should be hitting up the dentist more often.
I know. I think the nitrous though costs an extra like $160, and I don't know if it's covered by insurance or not.
Oh,
But
okay.
you know what? I said if like I literally don't go if I'm worried about
Yeah.
stuff, so I figured I just have to do it.
The dentists are so different than when we were kids. I'm sure this is not unusual. I'm sure many dentist offices do this now, but like mine, they'll give you like lavender neck warmer things that go
Mm.
around you.
Hmm.
The smell, and they give you like the chairs are now massage chairs, and
Right.
you can choose what movie you want to watch, or if you want to listen to music or whatever. It's
Yep.
just a different experience where I'm sure they're trying to address some of the anxiety and just make it more comfortable for people, because a lot of people hate the dentist. There's some people agreeing with you in the comments here. So I mean, I think I don't know, it's just different experience. But I'm glad you went, Matt. I'm glad. I hope it didn't result in more checkups.
No,
Needed
it
checkups.
didn't. They actually said compare like so. Last time I went to a dentist about a year ago, and they didn't even do a cleaning. They just did an exam, and they found 50 things that I needed to fix.
50?
Not 50, but it was
Okay.
an overwhelming amount. Like I needed to get a deep cleaning around the gums. They said, and tongue tie needed to get that untied, whatever that is under your tongue, jaw clicking, all this stuff, and it was just a ton of work. Oh,
Wow.
wisdom teeth removed, and then all these fillings. And this place said you don't have to do any of that. They said that's kind of crazy. So they did find 2 fractures because I'm a pretty bad teeth grinder, so they need to fill those in. But that was, that's pretty good news for me. That's it. That's not bad.
Yeah. I think we talked about this because we talked about how flossing is good for your brain health or something.
Heart health.
Heart health.
Yep.
How going to the dentist is always an ego boost for me, because they always compliment how clean my teeth are, and I never floss and don't really do much don't do much than anyone else. Do less than Katie even. But I think I'm just lucky, and also I think the plant-based diet helps with that too.
Yep. I think that's probably right. Lucy B says, hopefully the nitrous is not bad for the brain. I'm sure if you did it all the time, it would be. I don't really know, but most things that create a high are not good in the long run. But I'm sure it's not worse than the x-rays that they do there. That's probably the way worse thing. But yeah, I guess you have to do it. I don't know. And then Suzanne says, how much does a regular dental or dentist checkup cost in the US? I think typically like $100 to $150, and often that cleaning is covered by insurance. So usually you don't pay much for that.
Yep.
But then any work is going to be $500 to $1,000.
Yeah.
So that's the dentist for you. Okay. So what else, Doug? Anything else to talk about today before we jump in? I got a fun little story. First of all, I saw today's the 34th anniversary of what's called Near Miss Day, when an asteroid a half a mile long passed within 500,000 miles of the Earth. Which doesn't sound all that close, but I guess it was. I don't remember hearing this. I would have been about 7 years old or something. And I don't remember that. I would have been worried about that as a kid, I think. But seems
500,000 miles or 5,000?
500,000 miles away. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're calling that a near miss. So anyway, we've got the one coming up in 23 years that 1 in 400 chance of just ending humanity.
It's almost entirely certain that we will die.
It's a high.
Did you see the I just Googled it to confirm that it was real. Space junk flying over California that's like burning up?
No, did not see that.
Yeah, a whole bunch of space junk entered the atmosphere and turned into giant fireballs over California.
Wow. That's cool, I guess, as long as you're not under it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's probably all burned up by the time it reaches
probably
the Earth. But I don't know. These days, I wouldn't want to see something flying through the air. It'd freak me out.
No, you definitely wouldn't. All right, speaking of flying through the air, I found a little fun one. You ever do Top Golf, Doug?
I like Top Golf, yes.
Yeah, I was guessing that Top Golf was a Doug favorite activity. It seems like it fits your bill pretty well. Go there, have some beers.
Alcohol and some sort of activity? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I enjoyed it too. I've only gone once, and I enjoyed it. For those who don't know, I would equate it to bowling It's like you rent a rent a bowling lane. In this case, you rent the little stall where you hit the balls out of. Do they get automatically placed on the tee? I forget.
You hit a little thing and the ball drops into.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of games that, for 4 people, and lights out in the area that you're trying to hit stuff into, and 10 different games you can choose to play, and then serving beer and food and all that. Not very much in the way of vegan food, I noticed when I was there. I forget what we got, maybe French fries or something, but there was really very little. But anyway, this is from frontofficesports.com. It's called Meet Top Golf for Baseball. That's the headline. Home of the 7-mile-per-hour fastball. And Nolan Ryan, former 7-time no-hit pitcher, is an investor in the Texas startup. And they're saying this is the top golf, or the top golf of baseball. So instead of that big golf range thing that you see when you walk out of Top Golf, you see a baseball field. Looks like you walked out into the park.
Yeah.
So that part looks kind of cool. I don't know if this is going to do the same, be as good, though. It just seems like, it's probably pretty hard to hit a home run. Maybe they make it easy. And it says soft toss, which I when I played baseball as a kid, soft toss meant someone's kneeling like across from you and underhanding balls for you to then hit forward. They're pitching them sort of sideways and you're just hitting them forward. It's not real pitching, but still, like, to muscle one of those out of I don't know how big the park is. Looks like it's probably 150, 200 feet here. I don't know. Like, that would take some strength. So I'm sure they've thought of this. It just seems like it would be hard for like average Joe and Janes to go hit balls out of the park.
Well, okay. So I think that there might be a little weirdness or misunderstanding because it says 12 virtual batting bays, which makes me think that you're hitting like golf where you're hitting into a screen kind of thing.
Right. And the whole thing is just a big facade.
The whole thing might just be a giant facade. And if that's the case, like, it's just not nearly as cool. But I do I like the idea of different types of Topgolfs with different sports. The problem is that I think a lot of people play golf, right? Even if casually play it once or twice a year, like I do. There's just a lot of people play golf every once in a while.
Right.
When was the last time you went to a batting cage? When was the last time you swung a bat?
Yeah, quite a while.
And so I think that it's going to be a little bit less attractive. The novelty will wear off much quicker than staying there for a couple hours and hitting golf balls.
Yeah, and I don't know, I feel like with golf, like, you don't need to be good, at least at top golf. You don't need to be good. If you can just hit the ball into play, it's going to end up in one of the light zones somehow, and you'll get some points and have fun. Who knows? Again, they probably thought of this stuff. Also, how long is it going to be till Topgolf adds a little soft toss machine and it gives you the bat option? The same thing. So I don't know about this one, but it seemed kind of fun. Thought I'd bring it up.
Have you ever been to a driving range that's like Topgolf, like a double-decker driving range, but not?
Yeah, rarely. Not too much, but rarely. I have.
I never have done that, but yeah, seems.
I went to a range. The reason I asked about the automatic balls, I went to one last year where you don't even bend over to put the ball on the tee. A little mechanism.
Oh, really?
Just puts it up, and that was actually very nice. Yeah, I thought who cares? It's easy to put one on the tee, but it was actually very nice to have that thing just load up a new one while you're in your follow through, and then you're just ready to go. So it's a good time. All right. So as far as vegan stuff, food, I don't know. I guess we'll jump right into the weather report today. That's pretty short, but let's just go ahead and do it.
Hey, I've got a tempeh.
Oh, my bad. Oh yeah, I forgot about your food tip. You had a food tip today, right?
We can do it another time because I meant to prepare some facts on tempeh.
Is this Doug's health tip?
Well, I meant to prepare some facts on tempeh that I didn't do, so maybe we shouldn't. But yeah, maybe I should hold off till tomorrow. That's
your health tip, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We're trying to put that after the weather report, just so you're aware. That's going to go.
Okay.
We do the weather, and we're starting to get serious. Then you give us a little tip. Then we get into the articles. But you don't have it anyway today, so tomorrow we'll do that plan.
Do we want to answer a question from the Discord?
If there's one at hand, then yeah, that'd be good. I feel like this is too quick to get to the show content.
Boxers or briefs, Matt? No. I think the question about how we met and whether we our first impressions of each other.
Yeah, we can do that one. All right. Why don't you tell your version, Doug, and then I'll just chime in and correct any factual inaccuracies.
My version of how we met is yeah, it's probably better for me. So you were speaking at a Veg Fest in DC. Speaking
I
at
think I was
or
no, I was just attending. Robert Cheek was speaking, and I was kind of there to see him, but then also
okay.
do whatever networking there would be to do.
And this was what, maybe 2009? Something
Probably
like that.
2010, most likely to me.
2010. I was following No Meat Athlete. I was a big follower of yours, probably an active commenter.
Yep.
You may have kind of known my name, maybe.
Yeah, I think I did.
Um, and I had a blog, the Heisei at the time.
Hmm.
And so I knew you. I saw on Twitter maybe that you were going to be there. I was like, I'm going to go to this Veg Fest just so I can meet Matt, or just I experienced the Veg Fest, but mostly so I can try to track down Matt. So I went and drug Katie out there, and right as we were arriving, I saw you leaving, and I was pretty sure it was you. You had a No Meat Athlete carrot shirt on.
Yep.
You were with your wife, and you were maybe, I don't know, you were across the field, but I came running after you.
Yeah.
Chased you down, introduced myself, in a very awkward manner is what I remember. We had a short conversation, but I was just thrilled to meet the Matt Frazier of No Meat Athlete.
Well,
and yeah, that's how we met.
Yeah. I mean, that's more or less how I remember it. I don't know. I mean, like I wasn't too accustomed to people meeting me. I think the blog was, I think it was in the fall, right? That event.
Yeah.
So this was probably a year and a half into having the blog. So it was getting fairly popular. But hadn't had too many instances of people recognizing me or anything. But I was wearing the No Meat Athlete shirt. So, I think I'm probably a few people that day I met. So it wasn't actually that weird to me. I didn't think it was weird at all. It's kind of funny now. I mean, we were in the park, maybe not in the parking lot, but we were definitely like out of the facility, stepping into the road.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it was cool. It was flattering that someone like, and then I know knew who you were. Because like you said, you were a freaking commenter, and no, it wasn't that weird, but it's kind of fun. Good story.
Yeah. And then how we started working together though was you were organizing a kind of a group marathon at the Rock and Roll DC, and I was living in DC and had some experience organizing some events. So we got in touch, or you asked if I could help out, and I kind of helped do the back end work on that, and then that led me to doing the customer service and just all kinds of random stuff for No Meat Athlete back in the day.
Yes, and in between our meeting and your employment, I think is when you applied for a job but did not get it. That is
right. Yes,
we had an opening for a No Meat Athlete job. I forget what the details of it were. It was probably just to be sort of administrative assistant. But this guy Ben Benulis, who now is more active on Instagram, I think he's a chiropractor. Just doing influencer stuff. He actually started the podcast with me.
Yeah, he was the first co-host of the podcast.
Yep, we did probably 6 episodes. Then he had some stuff come up. I don't know what it was, but in his life he had to move on. So then the podcast was just sitting there with 6 episodes or something like that. And then you said after this event, you had said, "Hey, let's try to revive that thing," and then we did. Thank goodness
we did,
because here we are.
Yeah. All these years later.
Yeah.
Still doing the same thing.
Yeah, I know, right.
Just to a smaller audience.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. Mr. Jeffrey says, so Doug would have been 23 and 24, Matt 28, 29. More or less, right? Yeah, I think
that's probably right.
I started when I was 28, No Meat Athlete, so I would have been 29 or so. And then Doug 4 to 5 years younger.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Way to go, Mr. Jeffrey. He knows the details. So yeah, so that was fun. I don't know what your first impression of me was, but you were the only person in the space really talking about running and marathon training and ultra marathon running and a vegetarian diet. And so, I was just super stoked to get connected to No Meat Athlete, and then that community, of course, too. Once we started doing the rock and roll thing and all that. So yeah, it was fun few years there at the beginning.
It was very good times. Fast times. We were working hard and playing harder.
we were. I still people may or may not know this. I don't know. But we used to, every time we had a launch and like did something where we made some money, we would go to the casino and celebrate, or like do something really
That's right.
fun to celebrate.
Yeah, that's right. And we
Yeah.
had a few epic. Well, I think maybe one epic Runners World trip or two. I forget.
Oh yeah, a
Just
couple. Mhm.
they were
Two.
crazy. Yeah, they were crazy. All right. All right. On to healthy, good stuff. Here we go. Weather report brought to you by a sponsor. Great spot for a sponsor if there were one here. Just heads up, anybody. All right. Starbucks olive oil infused coffee. I think it's called Oleato. I talked about it a few weeks ago. It's officially available at some U.S. cafes today. It's been trialing in some Italian Starbucks where I guess it might be a more natural fit since that's where it was apparently inspired from. Although I had never heard of that trend ever. And I know about some Italian things. I never heard of that until this came about. It's at only a few Starbucks stores. I think it's at the original location and some of these like sort of fancier ones. But later this week, like I think by Monday, it should be pretty much everywhere, or at least everywhere it's going to be. So I'll be curious to try that. Last I saw, it was most often paired with oat milk, and they saw that for some reason that was a particularly good combination. But I'd be curious to try it even with no milk if they do that. So I'll be looking for that one. Apparently, the reviews so far mostly negative, not looking like a hit. Which not that surprising. Really. Who wants olive oil in their coffee except for me? I don't know.
Yeah.
Second of all, and last, members of the European Parliament have failed to support drastic changes in school meal funding, which would have included offering plant-based milks to the students. New report, Parliament's Agriculture Committee has not acknowledged the need for change, and they've suggested that conventional dairy products should be promoted through educational campaigns. So they're just going to keep on promoting that dairy milk and tell us why we need it for strong bones and strong bodies, I guess. This is all in spite of a petition with tens of thousands of signatures calling for plant-based milks. That's not really that many signatures, so I think that's probably part of the problem. We need more than 10,000 if we want to change government. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Doug, what are you going to put instead? Those plant milks, they're not all that much healthier, the ones I'm sure they're considering, because they usually have sugars and things in them. But yeah, it'd be nice if school lunch wasn't associated with milk. I mean, how about just water? Water would be an all right drink for kids.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why not just water?
Yeah. So there you go. That's your short weather report today. Back to you, Doug, for the health tip, which you're not ready for.
All right, which I'm not gonna do. We're gonna delay it till tomorrow.
Okay. So yesterday we wanted to get to this article. We didn't get to it. It's from the Washington Post. It was submitted by Monica, one of our active Discord users. nomadathlete.com/Discord if you want to join the fun. Why Americans should eat lentils every day. And Doug, you recently called out lentil soup as best food on the planet or something because it had saved people in Turkey, I think, after the earthquake. And you just said it was great. So, like I mentioned that we'd made a bowl of lentils or a big pot of lentils and it's still in the refrigerator. They're going to go bad. They're going to get dumped out because I don't really know how to use lentils. I just don't really have a place for brown lentils in my life right now. But anyway, this article, they talk about a lot of them. They're pulses, which I don't know if I knew that. I kind of thought they were a different class than like chickpeas, but chickpeas are also pulses apparently. Not that many people eat pulses. 8% of Americans, I think, eat them like in a given week. Yeah, not that much. Even chickpeas and hummus. And the big thing about this article, I mean, it gives a bunch of good reasons why lentils are good to have. Okay, so it's 8% of the U.S. population eats a pulse every single day, or sorry, any given day. 8% of the population, which it doesn't sound actually that low, considering it's any given day.
Right.
So if that 8% is turning over, and it's a lot of different groups of 8% throughout the week, you get some more people eating it. But if it's the same person over and over, that's not so good.
Yeah, but it could be that 40% of the population gets it in a week.
Right. It could be. But yeah, so hummus is probably the prime, way people get pulses. And they said that U.S. acreage devoted to chickpeas soared from virtually nothing in 1995 to around 1,200 square miles, more than twice the size of Los Angeles by 2017, though it has come back down somewhat. And that was because of hummus. Hummus was a paradigm shift. It was amazing. Hummus is the gateway pulse, says this guy McGreevy, which I don't know if that's true because I don't think you eat a hummus and then say, I need more pulses. Like I got to go now explore other types of pulses and get into lentils. I mean, none of that. It just makes you eat chickpeas and then maybe it's a gateway food into like Middle Eastern cooking or something, or Mediterranean.
Yeah, it's your most accessible pulse.
Right.
How about
Yeah,
that?
that's what it is.
More than a gateway.
But they're saying lentils, they need their hummus moment. Lentils have not had their hummus moment, and that's what's going to be needed if we want people to eat this humble food. Because, like I said, it's pretty boring. It's I don't know. I get that it's kind of good.
You're just hating on the
just don't-
lentils. Why is it any more boring than a chickpea?
I don't know. I think it's because you have to have like a spoonful of them, and you have to have it's like eating like a bowl of porridge almost. It's like a lot of them.
I mean, if you're eating porridge or lentil soup, maybe, but like you can do so much with lentils.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can. Like I saw someone under this started suggesting recipes, and like the recipes they were giving had meat in them. It was like chicken jambalaya stew with lentils, but also chicken sausage, and then some other one that had the lentils like along with the meat. I think this is my problem with it, that we don't ever like we put it in the lentil-aroni, and that's good.
Uh-huh.
I've done it like braised lentils, where you pour a bunch of red wine in there and serve it over toast. That's very good. It's just kind of a fancy meal. It just takes some time to do it. So I don't know. I don't have ways to like mix lentils into my food that are accessible to
Lentil
me.
tacos,
There are
lentil
lentil tacos.
burritos, lentil nachos.
Yeah, these are all things.
Lentil loaves.
Yeah.
You can, which I'm not going to make a lentil loaf all the time, but I certainly enjoy one. And then, you can we do lentils. So when we do like a baked potato or sweet potato or something like that, we'll put lentils on top as like one of the things you put on top.
Yep. Yeah, I mean they're good, and that's a nice way to use them, right? There's not the only thing in the dish. The way lentil soup isn't really that either, but it is more of that. Lentils are really high in protein. They always show up at the top of protein lists when people make those. They mentioned in this article, first of all, they're older than agriculture. 13,000 years ago, people were collecting wild varieties of lentils. They say they're not as dense or digestible as meat once they are cooked, but they become a complete protein similar to meat when combined with many grains. Okay, so do a lot of beans, though. And then they're also a slow burn, satiating hunger for hours. So I do believe they're very nutritious. Somehow they seem a little bit more like seeds than larger beans do. And I just think for some reason that means they have more micronutrients in them. That might be false, but I do think they are packed with micronutrients. So yeah, great food. I don't know what to do, how to start eating more of them. I'd like
they're never gonna have a hummus moment, because hummus is a spread, right? I mean, chickpea had a hummus moment.
Yeah, but you could blend lentils into a spread.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, you could, for sure. I'm sure there are plenty of lentil spreads, but
yeah,
I don't know. I just feel like hummus is just delicious because you can dip anything into it.
Right. And lentils are inadequate if you try to make them into hummus. I think that was just.
Well, I'm saying it's not a good comparison. Hummus and lentils are different things.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, I think no one ate chickpeas though either until they said, "Hey, it's perfect in this one delicious thing." So what we need is that to be for lentils. We need something that is just delicious that people suddenly want all the time.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't exist. There must be somewhere in the world someone's eating some version of lentils that's really good. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. They do interview at the end Steve Sando of Rancho Gordo.
Yeah,
and
gonna bring that up.
Yeah. Speaking of Rancho Gordo, I've got a couple bags of lentils from them that are just sitting in my pantry because we don't ever eat them. We eat all the other beans that come, but even like the French green lentils they send, I just don't know what to do with them. So they're still in there. You know what lentils I do eat? I eat red lentils fairly often. I mean, by comparison, because that's pretty easy for me to cook into a curry, and it it basically they lose their shape and it's just a nice creamy thing. But the other lentils, they don't do that. You know, they keep their shape, which could be good for the right dish. So I think the conclusion here is that lentils aren't all that good, and we wish they were better because then we'd eat more of this healthy food.
A couple things that I thought were interesting. So in 2020, in the middle pandemic, pulses received another boost when the United States shut down during the pandemic. They flew off the grocery shelves, and lentils were in particularly high demand. Sarah Mader, CEO of Palos brand, one of the biggest online pulse retailers, says that the era of lentils sales can be divided into times before and after the pandemic. Annual sales of brown Pardina lentil rose 860% after the shutdown in 2018 compared to the earlier year, and they haven't slowed down much since. That's pretty
That is a
big.
big
It sounds
boost.
like the pandemic was the hummus moment for lentils.
Right. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, you don't need to soak them. You can cook them in, I think, 25 minutes. And that's pretty unique among beans. If we're calling pulses in the class of beans, and I think we do.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got some stuff going for them, but they're just not that good. Mr. Jeffrey says lentils are not all made equal. Red and green lentils are not interchangeable because they cook differently. Yes, that is correct. The green and the brown, they hold their shape, whereas the red tend not to. And then you've got yellow split peas and green split peas and mung bean lentil. A lot of, when you get into Indian cooking, or even just leaf through an Indian book, you find all kinds of lentils being used. And I've never really explored much of that. I've tried a little bit of that, like yellow pea, curry, and things like that. And it's kind of the same, but lentils cook faster than all those things. Dale Stevens says, I might need to try a lentil hummus loaded up with garlic and maybe parsley or cilantro or something. Maybe yellow lentils. I will report back. Yeah, I hope you do, because I think there's potential there. You can definitely make a nice little, zingy curry kind of dip out of red or yellow lentils. Suzanne says you can add red lentils to a vegan lasagna. They add substance but not flavor. I have heard of that kind of trick before.
That sounds pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, open challenge.
So maybe the biggest takeaway from this for me was that apparently, so the head of Steve Sando, founder of Rancho Gordo, he said he eats lentils every morning for breakfast along with an egg.
Okay.
And I thought that I was like, I never considered that. So I just Googled lentil breakfast recipes. Oh, I got something caught in my throat. And there's a ton of them. Most of them do have a fried egg with them, but there's a bunch of different ways you can cook lentils for breakfast. Steve is saying that it's a good source of protein, slow burning, so kind of keeps you full for all morning. I don't know. I thought that was a clever idea, and I might try it this weekend.
All right, good. I hope you do. I mean, that is an interesting idea. I can't imagine myself doing that, but I do like a savory breakfast if I had the right one and it was simple. And I like a good Southwest flavored breakfast, the way your flavors are. They do say refried lentils have been a crowd favorite at Viva, a Las Vegas Mexican restaurant. So that's an idea. Yeah.
I wonder if you could do like a mashed lentil and avocado toast type breakfast.
I'm sure that'd be fine. And the mashed lentil would almost be like a spread, and it'd be okay. It's just, I don't know.
I'm gonna explore the
I hope you do.
lentil
I hope
breakfast.
you do, and I hope our audience is challenged here to find something to save lentils for us, because there's potential, but it just hasn't lived up right now. So I don't know. All right, good enough. Enough with lentils. Moving on to the other one. We've got 7 minutes left here, or 8 minutes left. It's another gut health. We talked about gut health a couple days ago. That was a Yahoo Finance article that was by a new cookbook. I mean, a new author, an author of a new book, not Dr. Wilby, who I think sort of invented the 30 vegetables per week thing, or 30 plants per week, get a lot of variety, that sort of challenge, plant point system. So that's sort of been hijacked apparently by someone else now. Well, this one is from The Guardian. It says, chew slowly, keep moving, and eat 30 plants a week. 12 rules for gut health. So that 30 plants thing is definitely spreading fast. They even mentioned in the first paragraph, they're talking to Kirsten Jackson, known as the IBS dietitian. For gut health, she says, think about additions to your diet, especially plants. But here she points out that by plants, even coffee would count as one. A spice would count as another. The previous article, they said a fourth of a point per spice. But anyway, we were talking about this thing, and on my trip to Asheville, in my head, just started counting up what I had in the past 2 days. And I got to like 35. It was easy. I had no problem getting 30. Like we said in that show, I probably, if I counted the whole week, I wouldn't get beyond 40 because I'll keep repeating most of those same foods again. But 30 is really not too hard. I think if you eat a a plant-based diet, especially because you tend to then just have more plants in it, you're probably not going to have much trouble getting over 30 in the course of a week, would be my guess.
Which goes to show you, if this is the advice that everyone is giving, that means that a lot of people aren't getting that.
Right. Definitely.
And so that's I don't know. That's too bad.
Yeah, it's not good, but little is good when we talk about what most people do with food. I mean, it's just unfortunate, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
All right, so let's quickly go through their tips here. Nothing
Okay.
too unique, but worth talking about. I find a way, by the way, that a lot of these, when you talk about gut health or any particular health, like you end up giving the same advice that everyone says for general health. It's eat this variety of plants, pick the ones that are high antioxidant, pick fresh fruits and vegetables. So like, it seems like another thing you have to worry about, but it's basically the same advice. So number 2, after eat at least 30 different plants a week, is choose powerful polyphenols. I don't know that much about polyphenols. They're, according to this, one of the most well-studied classes of phytochemicals. And what do? They skip through your small intestine to join our community of gut microbes in the large intestine, where we think the magic happens. I guess they have a different gut than I have, because that's what happens there is not magic.
It's something though.
I guess you call it alchemy or something.
Yeah.
So here's what I find interesting, and probably why I don't know much about polyphenols. Here's the polyphenol-rich foods: coffee, green tea, berries, flax seeds, hazelnuts, extra virgin olive oil, broccoli, red onion, herbs and spices such as cinnamon, ginger, and mint, and then red wine and chocolate. So I guess this sort of sounds like the list of like high antioxidant foods when you talk about like where are the highest antioxidant sources that most people get. Red wine and coffee are definitely big ones because people consume a lot of those, and they happen to be high in these, so they end up being a top source. But like these, it just doesn't seem like this list has a lot in common. You know, like when you say high whatever vitamin C foods, you listen to all these citrus fruits, and I get it, or acidic things. These are just all different. Like extra virgin olive oil and coffee, like they're just I don't know.
Cinnamon and berries.
Yeah,
you know.
right.
Yeah.
So anyway, these are the polyphenols. And like, it's tempting here to say, well, I'm just going to try to make a mental note to get more of those things. But then later on, there's a bunch more things to get for something else. So you end up saying, I'm just going to eat a lot of plants. All right. Third tip here is get enough fiber, 30 grams a day. At least a couple vegan meals a week just to get as much fiber as possible, because that's the easiest way to do it. So most people here don't need to really worry about fiber, I'm sure. Learn to love new.
How much fiber do you think you get?
I really don't have any reference point at all. I have no clue.
Yeah.
I don't even know how much fiber is like in an apple. I think we probably talked about this one time, and I still don't know. Do you? What do you think?
I have no idea.
We don't have to think about it. That's one of the nice things about our diet, is we can ignore that.
4.5 of fiber per apple for a medium apple.
Okay. So then, if that's like a typical amount of our foods, I don't know if it is. Yeah, probably 8 or 10 apples worth of food a day. So in the 30 gram range. All right. Learn to love new plants. Be adventurous.
Hold on. A cup of chickpeas, I don't know if this is cooked or uncooked, is 35 grams of fiber.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So all you need is
not the highest.
Yeah, all you need is one cup of chickpeas.
Right.
And you're set for the day.
And Blue Zones and Dan Buettner are already telling us to eat a cup of beans per day. I would imagine the other beans and pulses and legumes also have similarly high numbers of fiber. So yeah, if you're getting anywhere near that cup of beans a day, which you should be for other reasons, well, maybe that is one of the reasons. But then you do not have to worry about fiber. Yeah. So that's good. They talk about variety. Learn to love new plants. This is sort of the same tip as the eat 30 plants, because it's about finding new ones. They say find different ways to cook them. Like you can poach and boil. You can leave the skin on. You can take the skin off. So some people swear by eating apples, stem and core and all, if you want. I don't do that, but some people do. You don't do that, do you, Doug? I don't think. Even you don't do that.
Sorry, I was reading a comment. What do I not do?
Eat an apple, the whole apple, stem and core and all.
The first time I saw somebody do that was on your book tour. Matt Ruscigno did that. He ate everything except for the stem. And I was like, I've never seen anybody do that before. And so depending on the situation, I mean, I don't just do it to do it. But if I'm like in a car, or if I'm somewhere where I can't really dispose of the apple core very well,
right,
then I'll do it.
Okay. I tried it once as a kid, and that was enough for me. And then I stopped, and I said that's not meant to be eaten by humans. So I didn't never try it again.
Yeah,
It
I
was
was
too
sitting in
hard.
the back seat of your car. Matt Rosigno, dietitian, plant-based
I kind of
dietitian, friend
remember
of No
that.
Meat Athlete. He just was sitting and he just ate the whole thing, and I was
Yeah,
just like looking at it, like what? Like I've never seen anybody do that before.
I think he ate a persimmon on that trip too. He went and got one at the grocery store and just ate a persimmon in the back of the car.
Oh man, I love that. That guy is
Yeah, good
awesome.
guy. Uh, Apparently you're not supposed to throw apple cores and things out. You probably know this, right?
I do
Out
know
of
this.
car
Yeah.
windows because it'll draw the animals out of the woods close to the road and
Yeah, and
hazardous. So
you
I don't
shouldn't
do it.
you shouldn't throw them on the side of the trail either. People do that a lot.
And that
Uh,
what just brings them into human contact, and that's not
yeah,
good.
just just kind of changes
Yeah.
the way natural habitats flow.
Hmm. Isn't that natural though that we'd be a creature in there eating an apple?
I mean, not if apples aren't native to the area.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's still. I'm sure people were transporting fruits and things around in the early days. Who knows?
Man.
But I do agree with the car thing. You don't want to bring the animals near the road.
No, that's right. Yep.
No problem. No challenges there. Okay. Avoid gut harming foods. Who would have thought that'd be a good thing to do for gut health? But yeah, you want to avoid those gut harming foods. Those are alcohol. Although we said red wine has high polyphenol content, too much alcohol can mess up your gut for sure. But it's not permanent. Little reduction and increased dietary diversity can restore the balance. So that's a good thing. Ultra processed appears not to be good for your gut. Those foods are bad. So, I'm sure there's all different ways of ultra processing, and probably not all of them takes away all the fiber. But in general, good idea to avoid the ultra processing. All right, next one, get probiotics from fermented foods. And then later they say, and prebiotics. The prebiotics come from prunes, dates, dried apricots, natural live yogurt, grains, legumes, lots of things. Things that, make the the precursors, right, to the process.
Yeah.
But the probiotics are more in the fermented foods. I don't really eat that many fermented foods. They suggest sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir. Is that how you say it? Not like kefir lime, but it's either kefir or kefir. I don't know. I think it's some sort of yogurt-like thing. Live yogurt and some cheeses. Basic supermarket cheddar will have some probiotic benefits, but unpasteurized cheese is better. I can't believe supermarket cheddar cheese would have probiotic benefits. Maybe it does. You think Daiya has probiotic benefits?
I don't think so.
Very unlikely to me.
Very unlikely. You're hating on the diet these days,
I am. I definitely
and
am.
I have to agree with you that I doubt they have probiotic benefits.
Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy sauerkraut and even kimchi, but I just don't really eat them that much. I've heard there is a link between fermented food and cancer, elevated cancer risk. So Dr. Greger has pointed that one out before. I think there might have been some like confounding factor that kind of made it not all that significant, or more of a correlation, not a causation. Maybe Mr. Jeffrey can fill us in there somehow. But I don't know. Okay, so that's that. All right, then it gets into these behavior ones, and I like these because it's not just food. Number one, take time to eat. That means go slowly, chew it lots of times. I think there are entire dietary movements around just chewing your food, 37 times or whatever. Yeah. And I've never tried a challenge like that, but I imagine that would have some impact in your life because it would force you to sit there and take a long time and sit down for a while to eat. I guess you talk to people too while you're chewing. So, I mean, way different from the way most of us eat, for sure, where we're just doing something else, not really chewing much, not really thinking about the food. We're just eating while we do something else. So
since we talked about about this the other day,
I
forget what we were talking about. Do you remember?
Like no, I don't think so.
But since we've been talking about it, I've been trying to pay more attention and try to set my fork down in between bites.
Oh yeah, you're talking about eating fast. You said you eat pretty fast sometimes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, setting your fork down is a good move in between bites. And how's it working?
I mean, it's working. I'm more mindful of it. I don't know if I'm really eating that much slower, but I'm thinking about it, and so that's good.
Katie hasn't noticed a difference in like the tableside manner.
She's been calling me out on it actually a little bit.
In a good way?
In a good way. Like, yeah, like hey, don't forget your fork don't forget to put your fork down. Or like the other day, we were eating a burrito and I didn't have a fork. She's like, you got to put the burrito down in between bites.
Uh-oh. That's hard to do, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah. Then
Plus, it'll fall
messy.
apart then. Yeah, you
I
got to hold the
know.
burrito the whole time.
Problem, yeah. Uh-huh.
You need that burrito tape. That would fix
I
it.
do need the burrito tape, yeah.
All right. On a similar note, practice mindfulness. I've been meaning to get back to this. I don't know why. I've taken care of some health things past week. Just springtime's happening. I figured be a good time just to do a little bit slowing down and have some time where I just sit there and just sit there for 5 minutes. So I'm gonna try to get back to that. They mentioned practices like yoga and Tai Chi. I kind of always wanted to try Tai Chi. Doubt I'll start doing that now. But all right, when you do those practices, it says you're essentially soothing that vagus nerve, VAGUS. Is that right?
Sure.
You know how I soothe my vagus nerve, Doug? Go to spend some time at the poker table. I actually don't understand how is the vagus nerve in the brain? It must be, right? That's the only nerve you'd be soothing when you did meditation.
Yeah, right. Probably.
Okay. Well, yeah. It's there. Yeah. Okay. Main nerves of your parasympathetic nervous system. So maybe it runs throughout your whole body. Yeah. Never thought of meditation as like doing anything to any particular part of my body, but I guess that makes sense if it's my brain. So there you go. Practice mindfulness. And 2 more. Get moving. You have to move if you want good gut health. And no doubt about that, right? It might not seem like it would matter much, but it helps you feel less bloated. It moves gas out of your system. We're supposed to move. So probably a good idea to do it. And finally, fast overnight. They recommend here a 12-hour overnight fast. For example, not eating from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. and allowing some periods between your meals, help you sleep better, improve your gut, and all that good stuff. So no surprise there. I think it's a good idea. Even if you don't believe in like long intermittent fasting, a nice 12-hour break is not too much to ask, I don't think.
Yeah, you should probably stop setting your alarm for every like 3-hour intervals to wake up and have a snack. That's not a good.
Don't do that unless you're trying to put on muscle like I did in college. and then you should.
Uh-huh.
All right, so that's it. And then they end with keep at it. A lot of us go from one extreme to the other. Good gut health is about consistency and patterns over time. You know what? As silly as it sounds, that is a really good point. It's very easy to do stuff and get excited about stuff and do it for 3 months or 6 months or a year. But when you're hoping to live for 80, 90, 100, 150 years like I am, what you do for a year doesn't make any difference, right? You need to keep doing it for a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
So the best habits are the ones you can make last for years and years.
I think you're right.
Okay, good.
Right.
I wasn't looking at the comments because I was reading the article. Anything?
Mr. Jeffrey and Dale Stevens are debating their Canadianness around pronunciation of kefir.
All right.
And Mr. Jeffrey points out that you must have slept well last night because you are on fire today. That was after your Vegas joke.
Oh, okay, good. That was a pretty good joke. I didn't sleep that well. I think I got a 70 points on my Aura last night because the early wake up for Dennis. I did the bus routine and all that this morning, so I was up at 6. But you know what? I got a 90 pointer the night before that.
Ooh.
So still high off that one, I guess. Or maybe that laughing gas.
Used to say like that. How you slept 2 nights ago was a bigger impact.
I remember with racing, they said that. Michael Arnstein was saying that the night before his race was what really mattered.
Right. I haven't really heard that in a long time. I don't know how true that is, but I mean, you can wake up really early one day and be fine, but the next day or later that day, you're much tired.
That's a good point. It's like your body can overcome things in the short term and you're fine, but it will catch up.
It always does. All right. Speaking of catching up, we should get back to work.
Yeah, true. Okay, good. Sounds great. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Tomorrow we will be back. It's Friday. It'll be a fun episode. I actually listened to a little Rebecca Black this morning, believe it or not.
What? What?
I know. After the bus drop off, it happened to come on. It was the next suggested song on Amazon Music, so I just let it go.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Wait, like a new one or it's Friday?
No, it's Friday. Somehow I
Oh
don't
my
know
God.
how.
Matt, what is your Amazon Music's algorithm? Come on.
I have no idea. I don't know how that would happen.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, well, tomorrow actually is Friday, so that'll be good. And we've got a Doug health tip to all be excited about. Tempeh.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of fermented food, they didn't mention that one. So there's another good one. That'll be good. I'm sure there will be lots of articles. Maybe I can track down this Starbucks Oleato coffee. That would be a nice thing for me to do.
Oh, yeah.
If
If you do, I'd
if
love to
not,
hear
it'll be
about
by next week. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'll let you know. Okay, sounds good. Enjoy your Thursday, everyone. We will be back tomorrow.
All right. See you then.
All right.